Welcome back. It is indeed Monday, start of the week. You guys already know what time it is. Hope you guys are doing good, amazing, stupendous, outstanding. Very, very terrific on this Monday, man. It should be a good week again. So make sure you guys are getting things done, being productive, being great, and much more. But anyway, we are back with a F1 video today, F1 Test. Now, somebody did recommend a few days ago a day of 6 people won an F1 race. Now, I'm not sure there's an actual six-wheeler, like an actual six-wheel car, or it was an F1 car that had 6 wheels. If F1 cars had 6 wheels, when was this? When did F1 have 6 wheels on their car? Because I never knew about that, so that's why we are here. That's why we are going to check out, we are going to see what is on. Also, you guys know what time it is. Williams did drop the car. It looks nice. It looks nice. Now, I do know some changes. I think the big one, I think is like on the side of the car, I think it's like something to do with like the air, I think, stuff like that. So I was gonna say the aerodynamics, I don't know, that's it, but it looks cool. I think the front bumper looks different. But I do like it though. I think Williams had like a new sponsor or two as well. So the car looks nice. It's a very nice car. I like the design of it. Pure Scream, I think. But yeah. And also I like the number in the back, the 23 against Albon. But yeah, it's a nice car, very, very nice car. So like I said, man, it's up there. It's up there. Dude, I think it's better than I don't know if it's better than Red Bull. I'll probably have right now. Ooh, I don't know. It looks nice though. It does look nice. I still think Haas is just top notch. I think Haas is absolutely top notch. But we do have 3 as of right now. So I think Alfa Romeo's up next. Looking forward to that one. Should be good. But anyways, go ahead and hop straight into this video. Don't forget to start the video, sub as well as always. You guys know what to do. Let's get it, man.
Cars have 4 wheels, right? F1 is a car racing series. Therefore, F1 cars have 4 wheels, right? Well, for the past 45 years, this has been true. However, the most complicated and probably the most interesting car ever made for the apex of motorsport does not follow this seeming rule. So what are we talking about here? 6-wheel Formula 1 cars? No, we aren't smoking something. This happened during the 70s, and it was called the Tyrrell P34. Now, why in the world would a Formula 1 car have 6 wheels?
Why does that look like a freaking go-kart? Yeah, why does that look like a freaking go-kart? 6 wheels. That's challenging. Very challenging, but let's just keep going. Let's just see.
4 wheels seems to be more than enough, unless your name is Fernando Alonso and you're driving in Baku in 2019, in which case 2 wheels is plenty. But why 6? Well, the man who designed it, Derek Gardner, designed it so his team Tyrrell would be able to get an unfair advantage. You see, in the 1970s, the F1 field was much more even than it is today. The field back then were all supplied by Cosworth and used the same engine. They used the same Goodyear tires and used the same gearbox made by Hewland.
So
Derek Gardner decided to make his team stand out. He did some calculations and concluded that having 6 wheels on the car, 4 in the front and 2 in the back.
So I'm guessing back then, since everybody they had the same gearbox, the same engine, stuff like that. I guess it just came down to just overall just driver talent and then just other different specifications teams had with their cars. If they use like a lot of similar things. I mean, how much of a difference? Maybe I'm looking at it wrong differently, but
would improve the aerodynamics of the car by creating less front lift and would improve the traction of the car because, well, more wheels obviously. Garner said in an interview that his findings equaled an extra 40-odd horsepower just like that. When he came to his boss, 3-time world champion Jackie Stewart, with a design idea, Jackie nearly choked on his coffee. Ken Tyrrell, team owner though, trusted his engineer and greenlit the project, and so the story of the 6-wheeled F1 car began. According to Jody Scheckter, F1 world champion and at the time Tyrrell driver, the project was kept very secret. It was kept so secret in fact that not even he or his teammate Patrick DePaler knew anything about the development of the car. The only people outside of Tyrrell who knew about the development of the 6-wheeler were the folks over at Goodyear. They were tasked with making the smaller wheels for the front. Engineering-wise, it's probably the most complicated car ever made. Because it has 6 wheels, its suspension, aero and monocoque are all tailored for that. The suspension is connected directly to the steering system, and both of the front wheels have to turn. So the suspension and steering have to accommodate for not only one, but
So what if like what if like the front wheels turn, but not the second set of front wheels turn? You know what I mean? I'm like I don't know. Like what if like it just like it like
The
the
two
tires
sets of
just don't
wheels
work.
turning in order for it to be stable and
Like, both of
drivable.
them don't
So,
turn.
the mechanisms of the steering had
Just
to
one
double.
turns.
This obviously made the car weigh much more. It is not shocking then that the car weighs much more than a regular F1 car at the time, and its advancement in 1977 weighs almost 40 kilograms more than its competitors. Another part of the car that I alluded to earlier as being specially engineered were the front tires. They had to be small enough to fit in the limited space,
That's
but
true.
still large enough in order to provide the necessary amount of grip for the car. Goodyear was
Plus,
given this
like, it
thankless
just makes
task
pit
and
stops
managed to
longer.
create wheels for the front of the car that were 10 inches in
makes- it just
diameter
makes your pit
and were
stop
much
longer.
smaller than the regular wheels used for F1 cars at the time.
mini, wheels.
This was because, in order to abide by the regulations of Formula One, the front wheel well had to be a certain size, so the wheels had to be made smaller. Of course, Tyrrell was the only team to run a 6-wheel configuration in an F1 race ever, so the design didn't really catch on and had more than a few issues. The first issue was the fact that the car's biggest problem was its
Yeah,
braking performance.
I figured
It was
that.
originally thought that the car's 6 brake calipers would aid in braking performance, and this was true. They did in fact help, as the car was able to slow down and stop faster than its competitors, and coupled with the car's better turn-in, it was a monster turning into corners. However, the brakes were the main downfall of the car, especially the front brakes. Due to the fact that they were made to fit the regulation of Formula One at the time, the wheels were small, 10 inches like we already mentioned. This meant that the front brake calipers of the P34 were susceptible to malfunctioning. This was obvious from the P34's first race, as Jody Scheckter brought the car to P3 on the grid, but ended up finishing 11th due to the car's brakes overheating and costing him valuable time due to him having to brake earlier and more gently into corners. The drivability of the P34 was also hampered, again by its tires. Because the front two tires were much smaller than the rear two, they rotated more at the same speed. More revs per minute of the front tires meant that those tires wore out faster than the rear tires. And in the 70s, refueling wasn't allowed, and pit stops weren't mandated by the rules as they are today. So drivers would have to massage and care for the same tires from the beginning till the end of the race
That's
in order for them
crazy.
not to puncture. This
That's
was difficult for the
crazy.
drivers to do, because even though the car was very fast in the beginning, it was much slower than all of the other cars by the end of the race.
Yeah.
This is strange for a Formula One car because, in general, a Formula One car is faster as the race draws to an end and the fuel load burns down, thus making the car lighter and more nimble. This was not the case for the P34 as much as it was for the other cars. The other problems came not only from the drivability of the P34, but from its development. Because of the P34's overheating issues with its brakes, the engineers spent most of their time developing solutions for that issue. This was a gamble that didn't really pay off because the car's braking issues were never really fixed, and the brakes kept overheating, admittedly afterwards to a lesser degree, until the end of the car's lifespan in 1977. But the development of clever cooling solutions also hampered the car's development in other areas.
So it seemed like it didn't really last for too long. I'm not surprised about the braking issues because I would think eventually. I mean, first of all, it's hard to try to brake with 6 tires compared to 4. That's pretty much obvious. I think everybody knows that. I think at the same time, the pit stops not being mandated. So yeah, obviously a car had issues, especially towards the end of the race when a lot of cars were just faster compared to that car, compared to the P34. It's it's unfortunate. I do like the concept, of it working, of it trying, experiencing it, but I mean those issues are kind of you kind of expecting those issues to happen. It just sucks that
Thus keeping the car at a developmental standstill.
And,
Another problem the car
they
engineers
just
ran
couldn't
into
fix
were,
it.
again, the front tires. Goodyear was the only tire provider of the Formula One field at the time,
Couldn't find nobody
similar to
else.
how Pirelli is today, and the
Yeah.
Tyrrell team was the only team using the 10-inch wheels made by Goodyear, and the people at Goodyear didn't have the resources or the time to develop small 10-inch wheels needed for the car to drive. These factors really stacked the deck against 6-wheelers in Formula One, really made it an uphill battle for Tyrrell to keep the car running in the
So they
field and
have
to
to
keep it
use like
competitive.
the same
But the
front
issue was
tires
that
every
even
race.
though the car was fast from the beginning, it just got slower as time went on, and the development of the two cars being focused on the cooling and drivability of the cars meant that the car only kept losing pace against the rest of the field. However, the P34 did have its day in the sun. In the 1976 Swedish Grand Prix, the Tyrrell team had a wonderful Saturday, as Jody Scheckter put the six-wheeler on pole position with a 1 minute 26.6 second lap time,
That's
even
good.
breaking the Scandinavian
Whoa.
Raceway track record in the process. The race
Actually-
only
actually,
really had
that's
one
solid.
standout moment, as Mario Andretti on second illegally overtook Jody Scheckter, who was on pole, before the backmarkers took their place on the grid. This meant that he was hit with a 1 minute time penalty, and Jody was given the lead and eventually the win of the race. The race was historic only because it was the first and so far only Grand Prix to have ever been won by a six-wheeled Formula One car. The concept of a six-wheeler is something that didn't die with the P34 though, as when it stopped running, other teams, most notably
Oh,
Williams,
God.
attempted to develop but in
Of
the end
course,
never ended up
Williams.
running a car with six wheels.
Of course,
So tell us
Williams
down
did.
in the comments, what do you think? Are six
I think it's pretty cool. I don't see six wheels coming back. I think I think with just the better technology, like better like feel of like how to improve it, it possibly could. Probably not an F1, maybe like the other like maybe Formula E, Formula 3, or like just other like racing competitions, kart racing competitions. But I mean, for them, to win a race, basically off a penalty. I mean, Tyrell. I mean, hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. I'm all for that. You know what I mean? A win's a win. It don't matter how you do it. Win's a win. And Dre Sham cheated. Sham illegally took me over, but that's pretty. It's pretty interesting. Like I said, I do like thinking outside the box. The reasons for it, reasons behind it. But it just sucks. And I don't think he mentioned my claim about potentially wanting to like the tires not turning, but the main issue was obviously the braking, in which it got worse. Not just the braking, but the car engine just got worse throughout the race. But you guys, let me know your guys' thoughts on that, man. Don't forget to talk the video, sub as well as always. Love you guys and girls. Take care. Peace.